Karen faked property line's land survey proved her wrong. Now she's paying monthly fines. Have you ever wondered what happens when a neighbor decides they can redraw the map to suit their own desires? In a quiet suburban cul-de-sac, where picket fences and manicured lawns painted a picture of harmony, one woman's audacity turned a peaceful neighborhood into a battleground. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the block, believed she could claim land that wasn't hers until a professional survey exposed her lies and brought her empire crashing down. It all began when Karen moved into the house at the end of Willow Lane. She was a whirlwind of demands from day one, complaining about everything from leaf piles to mailbox placements. Her next-door neighbors, the Thompsons, a kind-hearted couple in their late 30s, who'd lived there for a decade, tried to welcome her with a homemade pie. Karen barely acknowledged it, muttering something about gluten allergies before slamming her door. Soon, she set her sights on the strip of land between their properties, a lush 10-foot-wide patch where the Thompsons had planted a small garden and a swing set for their 2 kids. Karen insisted it was hers. "That's my property line," she declared one morning, pointing to an imaginary boundary that conveniently swallowed the Thompsons' garden. She even produced a crumpled, hand-drawn sketch, claiming it was an official survey from the previous owner. The Thompsons, trusting but not naive, knew something was off. Their deed clearly outlined their property, and they'd had a survey done when they bought the house. Still, Karen was relentless. She began parking her oversized SUV on the disputed strip, trampling the flowers and leaving tire marks in the soil. She'd glare at the Thompsons' kids when they played near the swing set, muttering about trespassing. The final straw came when Karen hired a contractor to install a chain-link fence, cutting straight through the garden and encircling the swing set. "This is my land now," she told Sarah Thompson, smirking as the contractor hammered in the posts. Sarah, a soft-spoken elementary school teacher, felt her blood boil but held her tongue. Her husband, Mike, a pragmatic engineer, decided it was time to fight facts with facts. Mike contacted a licensed land surveyor, recommended by a friend who'd faced a similar dispute. The surveyor, a no-nonsense woman named Clara with 20 years of experience, arrived with her equipment and a calm determination. She spent hours combing through county records, pulling deeds, plat maps, and historical surveys. Clara's team used GPS and laser technology to measure the property with pinpoint accuracy, locating the original boundary markers buried under years of soil. The results were undeniable. The disputed strip belonged entirely to the Thompsons, exactly as their deed stated. Karen's survey was a fabrication, a shoddy sketch with no legal standing. Worse, Clara discovered that Karen had tampered with an old survey marker, moving it 6 feet into the Thompsons' property to support her claim. Clara shook her head as she showed Mike the evidence. "This isn't just a mistake," she said. "This is deliberate." Armed with the survey, the Thompsons confronted Karen, expecting an apology or at least a retreat. Instead, Karen doubled down. "Your surveyor's wrong," she screamed, her face red with fury. "I've lived here long enough to know what's mine." She refused to remove the fence, even when Mike showed her the official report, stamped and notarized. The neighborhood watched in disbelief as Karen's tantrum spilled onto the street, her voice echoing as she accused the Thompsons of stealing her land. But the Thompsons weren't backing down. They hired a real estate attorney, Emily, a sharp-witted woman who'd handled dozens of boundary disputes. Emily uncovered another twist. Karen had tried this before. A public records search revealed she'd been sued by a previous neighbor in another town for similar tactics, claiming land based on falsified documents. The court had ruled against her, and she'd left that neighborhood in disgrace. The confrontation reached its peak at a township mediation session, a last-ditch effort to avoid a lawsuit. Karen arrived with her fake survey, waving it like a flag of victory. She spun a tale of being a victim, claiming the Thompsons had bullied her since she moved in. The mediator, a stoic man in his 60s, listened patiently but grew visibly irritated as Karen's story unraveled. Clara presented her survey, complete with photos of the tampered marker and a detailed explanation of how Karen's sketch violated every principle of legal surveying. Emily then dropped the bombshell about Karen's prior lawsuit, reading court documents aloud to the room. A murmur rippled through the attendees, including a few neighbors who'd shown up out of curiosity. One of them, an elderly woman named Mrs. Carter, piped up unexpectedly. "She tried to tell me my rose bushes were on her land too," she said, her voice quivering with indignation. "I thought she was just confused, but now I see she's a liar." Karen's facade crumbled. Her confident smirk vanished, replaced by a stammering defense that fooled no one. The mediator ruled that the fence had to come down within 30 days, or Karen would face daily fines from the township. Emily pushed further, filing a formal complaint for property damage and fraud. The court didn't take kindly to Karen's antics. The judge, unimpressed by her crocodile tears, ordered her to pay for the survey costs, the Thompsons' legal fees, and the restoration of their garden. Worse, because she'd tampered with the survey mark-era crime in their state, she was slapped with a $500 monthly fine until the marker was professionally reset and the fence removed. The total cost? Over $10,000 and counting, not to mention the humiliation of being exposed as a fraud in front of the neighborhood. Karen's downfall was swift and poetic. The fence came down piece by piece, under the watchful eyes of the Thompsons and their neighbors. The swing set was restored, and Sarah replanted her garden, adding a row of vibrant sunflowers as a quiet act of defiance. Karen, now the pariah of Willow Lane, avoided eye contact and stopped attending neighborhood events. Her SUV no longer parked on anyone's land, and her once loud voice fell silent. The Thompsons, meanwhile, became local heroes of sorts, their story a cautionary tale about the power of truth and persistence. Mrs. Carter even baked them a pie, gluten-free this time, as a nod to their victory. In the end, the Thompsons' garden bloomed brighter than ever, a symbol of resilience in the face of greed. Their kids swung higher on the swing set, their laughter echoing through the cul-de-sac. Karen's fines continued to pile up, a monthly reminder that lies, no matter how boldly told, can't withstand the weight of evidence. The neighborhood found peace again, but the story of Karen's failed land grab lingered, a reminder to always check the facts and stand your ground. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or should the Thompsons have tried harder to resolve things amicably? Share your thoughts on where the line falls between standing up for your rights and keeping the peace with a neighbor.